Hello there and welcome into WCSN's continuing coverage of Arizona State men's basketball. Alongside Braiden Bell, I'm Rob Werner at Wells Fargo Arena, where the Arizona State Sun Devils just snuck out of here with a win over the Oregon State Beavers 77-75. Braiden, this was a tough one for the Sun Devils. They were trailing with under 10 minutes to go. How did they come out with this win?
You know, for me, it all started with a timeout. They were down 7 with exactly 10 minutes to go, and Bobby Hurley looked into the eyes of all of his players on the bench just to the left of us here, and he said, guys, I don't care what happens in these last 10 minutes. They, meaning Oregon State, they're not leaving this building with a victory. And his team responded. Give Arizona State a lot of credit, because from that point forward, they looked like a completely different basketball team. Offensively, they were moving the ball around, driving to the bucket, that style we were used to seeing in the non-conference. And then defense, they were swarming. I mean, blocking shots, getting steals, causing offensive fouls. They were fantastic. All of that got the crowd back into it, which they were great again tonight here at Wells Fargo Arena. So it was really the perfect storm, and they're making their shots. I mean, everything really just came together for this team in the final 10 minutes, and they needed every single shot and every single stop because Oregon State played great.
They needed every single shot, and they needed every single Sun Devil to step up.
Yeah.
And it took that today. It took Kamani Lawrence off the bench, Remy Martin off the bench, Daquan Lake, all of those guys off the bench in valuable minutes. How big was that in getting this win?
They were huge. Without those three guys that you just named, it would not have been an Arizona State win, to put it frankly. And they weren't huge in the box score per se, but the things they gave the Sun Devils on the floor as far as energy and hustle, it was invaluable. Because Remy Martin, for example, think of him. Cody Justice said in the postgame presser that he looked at Remy Martin on the bench during the game and said, hey, we feed off your energy. We need you here. And Remy stepped up. The full court pressure that he always plays with, and then kind of that reckless style of play that he brings to the table every single time he's out on the floor. And Arizona State felt that, picked it up. And then how about Daquan Lake? Doesn't get to play a lot usually, but he was in there today, and he was one of the best players in the game, I think, especially on defense. Blocking shots, he was fantastic. And then on offense, had a couple big dunks that brought the crowd to their feet, and even a big one late that really, pushed the Sun Devils up 5 points. So he played great. And then Kamani Lawrence missed a whole bunch of games with a broken foot. Now he's back, and you can really see game by game how he's starting to feel better and better. Rhythm on offense, and his defense has always been solid. Very physical defender, and if he keeps playing better and better, this team will also elevate with him.
And this is the fourth or fifth straight game where they haven't exactly had the most pretty outcome,
right?
But it is a win. What do you take away from this if you're Arizona State?
Well, it's the old cliche. A win is a win. And they needed this. They really did. After a tough loss Thursday to Oregon and to play another home game, being down 13 points in the second half, you could feel the tension in the air in this building when Oregon State was up 13 points. And like we talked about earlier, they responded, they came back, and this team isn't perfect by any means, but this win today possibly put some air back into the sails, because this team was kind of down, even though they were just 1-3 in conference play. 1-4 would have been a disaster, but now you're going on the road to two teams that should be winnable ball games. If you can win both those next week, you're right back into a position where you're really fine. And this win today really could be a point in this season when we look back in a few months that really could have changed the course of the season for Arizona State.
And like you alluded to, Braiden, Arizona State is going to go on the road. They're going to play Stanford on Wednesday night before they play Cal on Saturday night. Braiden and I will actually be there, so stay tuned for our coverage.
Yeah.
Alongside Braiden Bell, I'm Rob Werner in Tempe, Cronkite Sports.